Hey everybody, Phil Coppola, Regional Sales Manager for Genetec in the great state of New Jersey. Thanks for watching the video. And today I thought we might do something a little bit different. So considering the state of the world today, it may not be necessarily possible for you to see your regional sales manager. So you get to see me every day, right? I'm constantly here and I'm constantly in your face. I hope you enjoy that. But for those of you in different parts of the country and different parts of the world, you probably haven't seen your regional sales manager in somewhere between 4 and 6 weeks. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to introduce you or start introducing you to some of the members of the Northeast regional sales team for Genetec. So in this video today, we're doing an interview with Matt Holland, who is the regional sales manager in the New York metro territory. The interview is about 35-40 minutes long. Go through a wide variety of different topics. I think this is really useful not just for the other members of our team from the Genetec side of the house, but I think there's some stuff in here that our systems integration partners will be able to glean from, as well as our manufacturing partners. And really, if you're in the security world in general, if you're a regional sales manager for a different company, I think that there's a lot of really valid, really useful stuff in here. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to somebody that I call my friend, Mr. Matt Holland. All right, everybody. So as described, here is Mr. Matt Holland. Say hello to everybody, Matt.
Hello, everybody. How are you?
As of the recording of this video, it's April 14th, 2020. Matt and I are still both stuck in quarantine, but that's the nature of the world today, isn't it? So we thought it would be a good opportunity now for the world to kind of get to know their RSM. So in this series, we're going to be introducing you to all the different regional sales managers that work for Genetec in an effort for you to kind of just get to know them a little bit better. And who better to start with than the man, the myth, the legend, Matt Holland, who is the regional sales manager for the New York metro territory. So Matt, why don't you tell everybody, like, what is considered New York metro?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Phil, great to be here. Thanks for having me on. So yes, the New York metro territory, that is the 5 boroughs, Long Island, and then Rockland and Westchester counties. So kind of this nice core little bundle here that sits right to the east of New Jersey, and keeping us busy.
I bet. More power to you, because as you know, when I used to work for a different company, I had a big territory, right? So Maine down to Virginia. I still lived in New Jersey, as does Matt. So Matt's a Jersey boy, just like me.
Yep.
But getting to Long Island was never a fun thing to do.
Brutal. It is brutal. But you know what? We get out there and we do it. And I'm just waiting for the one day that they just create like a bridge just to go all the way over New York City and just let me just land in Nassau County.
That's it. You got to get like a hovercraft or a drone or something that can lift you up and just plunk you down.
It's wild, but you know what? It's one of those things. It's I'm an early riser anyway, so I will get there and make sure I'm there by 7 a.m. and just be there.
Yep.
Be there. You know what?
And honestly, that's the best thing. Leave Jersey as early as you possibly can. Avoid the traffic. Then leave Long Island as late as you possibly can, and avoid the traffic. So for those integrators that are on Long Island that deal with Matt, book him because he's going to be there for like 14, 16 hours.
I will be there early.
There you go. So one of my favorite things that I learned about you after you started working at Genetec is that you have a degree in chemistry. So like you're a chemist by trade, which,
believe it or not,
just like I would say 99% of everybody in this industry, nobody planned on being here except for like that one person, right? There's that one guy that planned on being in the video surveillance business. You obviously didn't plan on being here. You're a chemist. How the heck do you make the leap from chemistry to video surveillance?
Oh man, I know, right? You just kind of just fall into it. I mean, I had a pretty clear path once, and it make a lot more sense once I explain it. But so I went to school for chemistry. The grand scheme of this was to go to medical school. What did I want to do specifically? I have no idea. At some
I don't
point,
think
it's
any of
just
us
like,
did.
wanted to make a big buck, and yeah, medical and all this and that. I just, I didn't know that I knew that I didn't want to go like the finance route. I just knew that. So it was like, let me do this. I was always interested in, nutrition and sports, and what better to, get to the root of that, and build some knowledge around it. So I did that. So I went to school for chemistry. I majored in chemistry, graduated in chemistry. I was a two-sport athlete in college as well. So it was kind of all just intertwined and all of this type of stuff. And graduated. I was working as a bench chemist for a fragrance and flavors manufacturer in New Jersey. So I had a
Any
lab coat
flavors that
on.
we'd recognize?
Let's see. So Colgate toothpaste, right? So we were the manufacturer for the Colgate toothpaste,
Oh, cool.
believe it or
That's cool.
not. More on the fragrances side, it was like more of the stuff. It was like home care, so Yankee Candle, and you do like a lot of Amway products, laundry
Mm.
detergent, stuff like that. So it was cool. But I was testing the stability of the fragrances. How could they hold up in cold environments, hot environments, sunlight, things like that.
Oh, wow.
So I was in the lab every day, and I did that for about a year after I graduated with the intent to save up for medical school, right? So long after that, actually really short after that, I got approached by one of the vice presidents of sales at this company, and they said, "Hey, I think you'd be great in sales. What do you think?" And I was like, let's give it a shot. Like, why not? Let's give it a whirl. And right after that, I got introduced into that sales environment. I was literally traveling the world. I was like 21, 22 years old, really just going on a bunch of vacations because I did not give any input at all. And shortly after that, my college roommate, believe it or not, his father owns his own security integration company.
Ah, okay.
So my roommate had actually called me one day and said, "Hey, what are you doing? I know you're in sales. I checked your LinkedIn. Why don't you come down to Philadelphia and help me and my dad out?" And I was like, "Why not? Let's give it a shot." Right? Here we are. It's like now I'm 23, and that's how I got started into the security industry.
Wow.
That
So
was
So before we go there, I got to ask. So like now that you're in the security industry, right, and you go into a store, yeah, we all do it. We look up, we look at the cameras, right?
yeah.
So oh, that's an Axis, that's a Pelco, that's a this, that's a that. Can you do the same thing with like candles? Like if you walked into like a Yankee Candle store, could you be like, oh, I know based on what I'm smelling, which what the chemical
Still
makeup of
do it.
you
Still
do,
do it.
right? Okay.
Cassis and the rose centifolia or whatever it was, all of it, all of it. Yeah, dude. It's a very cool industry. It
I
is a
can
very
imagine.
cool industry. Yeah, yeah. And there's like I would say there's like five big global players. Believe it or not, all primarily reside in New Jersey.
Yeah. New
In
Jersey is the artificial flavor capital of the world.
Yeah, okay, there you go. And all like in central to northern New Jersey. It's like we're all right there. IFF, probably like right in your backyard,
Yep.
International Flavors and
Absolutely.
Fragrances.
Sure.
So yeah, no, it was cool. But yeah, I'm that guy. I'm going in the stores, smelling all these candles, checking them out. Um, so
That's
yeah.
awesome. So your college buddy, it's the classic sales story. Oh man,
Yep.
you'd be good in sales. You should come work for me, right? That trust me, my story is almost identical except
Yep.
without
Yep.
the chemistry and the medical school. So you go to work for an integrator and you spend, X amount of years at an integrator. You were there, you were with the integrator before, well, you moved from that integrator to another integrator,
I
right?
did. Yep.
And then after that, you come to work for Genetec.
Yeah.
Somebody must have made a great recommendation for you. I
I
wonder who
just
that
yeah,
was.
I wonder who that was, but thank you.
So having worked for an integrator kind of gives you a really unique perspective, right? So when you go to work, so like for me, I used to work for distribution before I
Mm-hmm.
went to go work for a camera manufacturer. You
Mm-hmm.
having worked for an integrator and now going to work for a software company in the same space has to provide you with a kind of a unique perspective. So a two-part question here. How is it different working for a systems integration partner than it is for a manufacturer? And what sort of advice or tips or tricks, like what's those things that, man, I wish I would have known, having now worked for Genetec, I wish I would have known this when I worked for the system integration side.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Great question. Before I go into that, when I started at that first integration company, there were some product lines that the organization had, and they were, leveraging a lot of their, I would say older customers and things like that, just trying to revamp a lot of old business. Well, long story short, they had made some investment moves, and Genetec being one of them. So it was kind of simultaneously like here I started, fresh into the security industry.
Hmm.
This organization had actually just brought on Genetec as a line. I'll never forget Mr. Ritter and Mr. Giovanni walking in here into the office, and it was pretty much the first product that I had ever gotten trained on. To
Wow.
then kind of come full circle back on it, what is it, 5, 6 years from then? It's like, whoa, that was pretty cool. But
Yeah, I always
look,
say in this industry, you got to be nice to everybody
that's it.
because you
That's it.
never know who you're going to end up working for or working with at some point.
I know it was pretty cool to see. So, but yeah, you look working on the integration side. I mean, it's definitely a lot different. Put me in a perfect position to come over to this side, and now speaking with the integrators, really managing their day to day. Taking a lot of my experiences and trying to implement that into really how I go about the overall management and the sales trainings and kind of that entire aspect. But you know, from the integration side, there's a lot of facets to it, right? There's, not only having to understand and learn, ultimately one, software player, whether it's from a VMS perspective, access control, you're having to worry about, card readers and electric strikes and mag locks
Mm.
and, how to fit out a specific door. And, there's a lot more, of an engineering component to it. I would say that does rely on the sales guy, at least for the two organizations that I was a part of. Some may be different, but it really set me up perfectly now to come over here and use kind of a lot of those day-to-day experiences to know when having conversations as to maybe ask some additional qualifying questions.
Mm.
So that was very helpful. That was very helpful. And and second to that, it's now, like I said, being able to, I think, approach some of the conversations differently from how, the management of the integrators are here in New York. I had a very, I'd say strict way that I would say I manage my manufacturers, right? I expected things from them. Even sometimes whether it's just a matter of, anytime that I call you pick up, or,
Mm.
knowing that we're going to go into an intuitive design, just need to make sure that, we're holding hands together throughout this entire thing. So I took a lot of, my just running around like a crazy kid, because that's what I did, right? And when I was certainly on the integration side in New York, I was just running rampant. I was running wild. And I was just one that always needed just know that that person was going to be there, type of thing.
Right.
Not always needed to know the answer, just knew that that person was going to be there. And that's kind of what I've instilled here on this side. Hey, look, I may not always know the answer, but I'll find out the answer for you. Look,
Right.
we know that the product is what the product is. It's unbelievable. And, frankly, it's in most cases, it's going to sell itself. But a lot of our partners, it's just like, hey, they just need to know that we're there. And, I really just tried to instill that. And I think it's been great.
Yeah,
Right.
I couldn't agree with you more. And you mentioned the systems integration partner, so obviously they're the lifeblood, right? So
Yeah.
they they are what keep us employed
Yeah.
ostensibly, right? So our paychecks come from Genetec, but ultimately it's the systems integrators that we're working with on a daily basis. And you're right, you have to be there for them. And, you kind of play a bit of a customer service role, you play a bit of a technical role. You certainly are going out and selling, but they need to feel like if they pick up the phone and call you, that you're definitely gonna pick up and you're gonna have an answer, or you're gonna know the right person to get to.
It's definitely a challenge, and I think that kind of hones into how most of us approach our regions is that more quality over quantity aspect, and I think that's really true for Genetec overall, because there is a means to be able to provide that level of support, and as one gets stretched thin more and more, it shows, so but we will always get back to you. I promise.
That's right. Yes. Eventually. Eventually. You will hear back from us.
Eventually.
Email me, please.
Yes. Yes.
So, and you know what? That's a really good segue into something else I wanted to ask you, which is really like, what's your day look like? So I know for me, I'm sort of lucky in that, and there are other RSMs around the country that will very freely point this out to me, say, oh, you're the regional sales manager for Genetec, and in New Jersey, and you live in New Jersey. So boy, aren't you lucky. You kind of are a little bit similar. You live in Jersey, you manage New York City, but for you, it's got to be kind of challenging, getting in and out of the city and whatnot. So I'm curious, and I'm sure other people are curious as well. Like, what does the normal day look like for you? Like, what time are you, like, coronavirus notwithstanding? What does the normal day look like for you? Like, what time are you up? What are you doing? And what time are you in the city? And then when do you get out of the city?
Yeah, no. So I am a very early riser. I'm an early riser anyway, but certainly if I'm going to try to get a workout in during the week, and I try to push that off to the weekend as much as possible. I'm more of a 3-4 workout a week type of guy now, certainly. And try to just have that be as efficient as possible. But to be honest with you, I'm a 4:30 a.m. guy.
Wow, that early.
Yes, I get up, I'm coffee, and then I'm typically, because I don't work well at night. So if you've ever seen me blast out emails, it's in the morning.
Yep.
Because come like 9-10 o'clock, nothing. You're not getting anything out of me unless I'm sitting down for dinner, with a customer. No, so and then it's more or less it's 5 to 6, get as many emails out as I possibly can, and I'm typically out the door by 6:30, 7 o'clock.
Yep.
And then what I do if I'm going to Manhattan, which I'll use Manhattan as an example because I'm pretty much there 90% of the time outside of the other parts of the region. I'm, like I said, out of the house 6:37. I drive to the train, so I try to get as close to the city as I possibly can, get on the train, and then get me into the city. Once I'm in the city, it's subways, taxis, Ubers, you name it. But I'm pretty much in the city at least by 8:39. First meeting starting, whether it's at 9, 9:30, or 10 o'clock. And then I'm out of the city pretty much, if I don't have a dinner or some type of night event, pretty much by 4. And you have to consider 2 hours, for travel. So 4 home by 6, 6:30. That's kind of a day.
I find that 5 to 6 a.m. is like the golden hour. That's when you can get a ton of stuff done. You'll see when the family starts to grow. So I have 2 little ones, and they're waking up. Usually 7 o'clock is when I'm stirring them out of bed and getting them ready for school and whatnot. But if I can get up at 4:30, 5 o'clock, and get a good solid, hour to hour and a half with no interruptions, and nobody's emailing you back either. That's the other nice part.
That is key. That's key.
Nobody's responding at that time. I tend to be a little bit more on like a night owl, right?
Yeah.
So I think if I can get to my email at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, like, it's not uncommon for me to be responding at that point. But yeah, early morning is probably better, but I sometimes lack the intestinal fortitude to actually pull my lazy butt out of bed at 4:30 in the morning. That's tough.
But again, it's like that I'm home, and then you just won't hear from me. Like, I know we have one of our colleagues, one of our business development managers, Ty. I know that he's sending emails all the time at night. And it's funny, and we've talked about this too. It's like, dude, you send them at night, I'll just respond to them back in the morning. It's perfect. It's a perfect
Exactly.
relationship.
It works. It works. We found a method that works.
That's right.
So, going back to the integration partners. So again, they're sort of our lifeblood. Obviously, just like in every organization, some perform at a much higher level, some perform at a medium level, some perform at a lower level. We don't have a ton of them, right? We're not a distribution product, so everything is sold direct to the system integrator. When you think of your best system integrator, what are they doing differently that some of your other systems integrators, like if they knew, not giving away any secret sauce or any sort of secret business strategies, but like what are the things that make a good Genetec integrator that's kind of separate them out from sort of like the folks that kind of dabble in it?
Yeah, no, it's easy to be honest, and it's being literally laser focused in Genetec. It's as simple as that, because we have so much that we can offer. Obviously, as we all know, from video, from access control, license plate recognition, all of the modules that we have, clearance, clear ID, mission control, et cetera, et cetera. It's being laser focused in selling Genetec, because there's the opportunity to get into a customer. Maybe we're just selling video. Down the line, we're selling Synergist. Down the line, we're selling now license plate recognition. We're talking about that fully unified customer. And then now we're being able to capitalize on holistically, how can we now manage that operations better? Mission control, right? Now we're utilizing things like and I've seen that process work over and over again to the best of its ability. It's incredible to see that and how successful it has been. And as you mentioned, there are so few of them that actually do so. Because again, I understand, not saying that it's right or wrong, certainly coming from the integration side, sometimes the organization calls for it and you have to do it. And, you have customers that require another means to take on another partner. But in order to grow your business with Genetec, it's being as laser focused as possible.
Yeah, I agree, because what you find is the integrators that are as laser focused as what you're talking about, it's not just from a sales perspective, but also their technicians and sort of the back of the house when it comes to ordering, because they're all focused on Genetec. It's easier for like a technician to go out and deploy a Genetec system versus you have some integrators that Genetec is another product in sort of their bag of tricks, and the way that they're going to deploy it, not saying that it's right or it's wrong, but it's certainly going to be different than somebody that literally like 90% of their systems are going to be Genetec. Exactly.
And, eventually it's going to build up, more of a partnership, more of a relationship, more camaraderie, right? It's just more of that day to day. And, you'll see the dividends pay out time and over again. I will say that, look, as an integrator, I didn't necessarily do what I'm preaching right now. I had the opportunity to sell, many different products. And like I said, it was kind of just getting started in the industry, trying to find contacts, and, you got to do what you can do to survive, right? To some extent. And, obviously as you grow older and, you start to learn more about the business and certainly about the market overall, and then even the regions, that is a key piece of advice that I would say, obviously, from our perspective being biased, let's hope that it's always with Genetec. But, if there's a means that for whatever reason their organization is calling to go elsewhere, it is what it is, right? But that definitely will be the key driving force, and certainly as the trends continue, because as we all know, our industry is changing, and that's one thing for us. It's a unique is we need. It's just overall better understanding of where the market's going, and knowing that there really isn't anyone like Genetec that does what we do, and if you latch on to us, we'll bring you to the championship, man. We'll bring you to that finishing line.
Yeah, absolutely. I could not have said it better myself.
Yeah.
So what, kind of building on that topic, what's the one thing you wish more people knew about Genetec?
So I think I'd have to say it's probably where we stand in our overall position in the market. And what I mean by that is ultimately what we're doing with the trend initiative that we see.
Mm,
Uh, it's really going away from security as kind of the onset of what we do. It's security. You have to understand. I believe it's kind of that tertiary aspect for Genetec. We're now instilling ourselves as operationally what are your operations look like? How can we achieve and create an efficiency around the day to day? What type of intelligence are we trying to capture, right? Where are we going to be able to correlate data, collaborate, really start to have an ROI conversation, which is something I think has been lacking in the security industry for years. Actually, it has been non-existent, right? Really only until recently. And something obviously what you're able to do with Genetec is being able to capitalize on that data, right? Make sense of your sensors, as we always talk about, with the ability on the back end, you have a security system as well. So that's one thing I wish people knew more about Genetec, that it's obviously it's not just the product overall. I think it's where the product fits in the industry.
right. Yeah. I agree 100%. For me, it's very similar. I have a very similar take on this. It's like I wish people knew how deep the product
Yes.
was. And
Yes.
I think one of the challenges that we have as an organization is that consumption gap, that knowledge gap.
Mhm.
Everybody knows Genetec as a video management system. I think a lot of people know Genetec as an access control system now. So Genetec is the #1 VMS in the world, as according to IHS Market, and we're the #6 access control in the world, and #3 in the Americas. So I think I would like to think that most people know this already, but like you said earlier, it's security is like it's tertiary. I don't think I could have put it better myself. It's people think of Genetec and you think security, but it's really the way that I sell it anyway. And I'm
Mhm.
sure you've probably used this line yourself. I think you have to pay me a royalty every time you use it.
Yep.
Is Genetec is not a VMS. Genetec is not an access control system. Genetec is a unified security and operational intelligence platform. From a single pane of glass, you should be able to manage your entire operation. That includes aspects of security, but also identity management and operation centers and building automation and all sorts of like different stuff.
Mhm.
So I wish, just like you said, I just wish people knew that, and we just need to do a better job of communicating it,
I think we
spreading the
need a
word.
I think we need a commercial with you giving that line.
There you go. I think we just made one right now.
I think so. Yeah, and it's not that it's a battle, but it's always going to be continuing to try to find, because I think what we've done is we've certainly created our own niche, right? I mean, there's really no one else doing this in the space right now. And as you mentioned, right, it's not security, but it's not only just operations. It's not only just creating dashboards. We're doing all of that.
Yeah.
And then how are we approaching these industries and these markets? Which one are we positioning first? It's interesting to see where it's going to go,
Yeah.
because you can
And
see the
as
market to follow.
yeah, and as an RSM, we sort of have to be like Jedi masters, for lack of a better word. We have to
Yeah.
know when we're going into an end user opportunity how we're going to position this. Is this an end user that we need to talk to and focus more on security, or
Hmm.
is this somebody that would understand the value proposition of the intelligence, methodology of selling, right? So
Right.
it's challenging, and then you add on to that all the noise and all the static from the rest of the industry, right?
Hmm.
Some of our competitors also claim to have a unified interface and things like this. So we have to kind of, make sure that we're expressing to the market what the differentiating factors are. And then also when we're in a security industry, people tend to think of us as only for security. And it's like you
Right.
said, it's so much more than that. It's so much
Hmm.
more broad than that.
Yeah.
So last couple of questions, we'll wrap this thing up. So what's your biggest pet peeve? Not necessarily Genetec specific, but just sort of industry related. Like what's the thing that really kind of like to steal a phrase from Peter Griffin? What really grinds your gears?
Oh man, is there just one?
I've got a laundry list. Don't get
Yeah,
me started.
man. Me too. Me too. I mean, still to this day, on from our side, on the Genetec side, Genetec's too expensive. It's like biggest pet peeve to this day. It probably will never not be my biggest pet peeve. It's such a cop out, and it's hard now for me to go anywhere past that. I always do. Obviously, I bring it back down. It's like, all right, let's come to peace here. But probably my biggest pet peeve. It's again, the industry, the market has changed so much. It's no longer obviously the analog world, and there's an expectation that's out there.
Yeah.
So probably that's the one to point on. Yeah, I'll keep the other ones that I probably wrote down here for another time because I don't want anyone to hate me.
Not for public consumption.
No,
Yeah,
no.
you know what? I would agree with that. So I did a sales training today, and I spent probably a good half an hour with this new integration partner, really talking about that. There's this misconception, there's this perception in the marketplace that Genetec is enterprise.
Yep.
And it comes with an enterprise price tag. And if I have a customer that's got 16 cameras or less, or 8 doors, or 2 doors, or whatever, I'll go with one of the lower cost alternatives because I'd love to give them all the features and functions of a Genetec, of a security center, but they can't afford it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at it, and you really engage a regional sales manager, and we can build a system for you, what I find is we tend to come out to be less expensive than even the lower cost alternatives,
Right.
while at the same time providing the integrator and the end user with the same experiences you would get with a security center system. Are you going to get, a security center with Omnicast Enterprise and Synergist Enterprise? No, but do you need advanced levels of failover for 4 doors? I don't think so either. So,
right.
Yeah, I think you're 100% correct.
Yeah, and it's probably that because I think due to the frequency of it, right? I even had one this morning as well. So it is constant. And again, it's not going to go anywhere, and not necessarily that it's a comment to the end users, because it's
They
part of
don't
their buy.
know.
They don't know, right? And it's part of the buying process as we go through. Obviously all the challenger information and training that we go through. It's part of the buying process, right? And now we may have 7, 10, even 15 people a part of that process. Someone's going to come out and say, oh, hey, it's going to be too expensive, but for our partners, right? Our integrators, don't be so quick to write us off, right?
Yeah.
There's always a way.
Yes.
There was always a way, and that was always actually something when I did start, knowing the players in New York, and just knowing some of the exercises that I've done, when I was an integrator, and kind of taking that experience over here, saying, hey, look, guys. If you have even let's call it a bid, and Genetec's not listed, and you're going to go in with a competing product, if you have the time, not to waste anybody's time, but send me what you have. Let me put together a price for you, because you may not know about, for example, our all-in-one, if it calls for 16 cameras, 16 doors, right? You may be thinking, so high-level enterprise out of the box, this is going to cost 15 grand. Well, not necessarily. And that, even for a new integrator, right? I think that really starts to build some traction. Really what it is, it's just, and when I was a sales guy and an integrator, it's like I just needed to become familiar with the bill of materials.
That's right.
So
you
I
get your repetitions in.
That's it, right? Practice makes perfect, and that really started to pan itself out and created some success here, even for some of our vendors who just play in the bid space. Playing the bid space, and whether it's a Genetec spec or whether it's not, having an opportunity, knowing that the product will meet all the required specifications, but not listed. We've even had some success stories where we've been able to get that in just by doing this exercise.
Yep.
So
all the time.
Now it's been well.
All the time. So last couple of things.
Mm-hmm.
Again, tying it back to the current world situation. What are you looking forward to most? Like once coronavirus has been nipped in the bud, what are you looking forward to doing?
Oh man, so probably the easiest thing I will say, and if anyone's ever heard me say this, and you've ever traveled around New York with me, as I always make the joke, the best part about Manhattan is leaving, right? The best part of New York City is leaving. I cannot wait to go to Manhattan. I just like I can't wait to go back to the city and just like reap the benefits of normalcy.
That's
It's
it.
killing me.
Yeah.
It's killing me. But no, that honestly, I've never wanted to go see a customer so bad. You know, I love Microsoft Teams and hats off to Microsoft, but
Thank
I
you.
need to we need in-person engagement.
Yes. Well, so secondary question to that.
Mhm.
What is the probability that you shake hands? Right? So this is the first time that we see each other, we greet each other, and somebody puts out a hand. What are you
Yep.
doing? What are you doing? Because I
Ooh.
don't know what I'm doing. I think I'm
I-
gonna put up the Vulcan like greeting, and that's it. Like, oh, hey, maybe you get a fist bump. That's about it.
Probably gonna do. I'm gonna play the joke of like I'm gonna put a fist bump, and then he's gonna go to fist bump. I'm gonna go to handshake, and we're gonna go back and forth on that. Um, no, we're just gonna instill an environment where there's just no more handshaking, and everyone has to have Genetec Clear ID so they know when I get to their facility.
There you go. Spoken like a true sales.
Self-service.
Spoken like. Well, Matt, I really appreciate your time. I think this was incredibly beneficial, just for people to kind of get to know you, get to know me, get to understand like how, what does a regional sales manager do for
Yeah,
Genetec?
yeah.
Um, any parting words?
You know what? Genetec is absolutely incredible. It's been a joy to work here. Love the day to day. Love the region. Love New York City. Love what it outputs. Love my integrators. I think we have a great core team. And even internally, right? All of our colleagues, everything like that. It's been awesome to see everyone come together, certainly in times like this. And it makes you kind of take a step back real quick and say, you know what, I couldn't be more proud to be part of an organization. So, hats off to the team, and looking forward to continue to chipping away here and going back out and crushing it, and doing great things once this is all said and done.
Matt Holland, I couldn't have said it better myself. You said it all. Thank you so much for your time. If you'd like to get in touch with Matt, I'm going to leave all of his all of his contact information down below, including his email address. Maybe I won't put your phone number in. I don't want you getting weird calls in the middle of the night, although you are up pretty early. And then obviously links to his LinkedIn as well. Matt, stay safe, wash your hands, and we'll see everybody next time.
Will do. Thanks, Phil.
I hope you enjoyed that interview. I know I certainly enjoyed the conversation with Matt. I have included all of his contact details below, so if you'd like to get in contact with Matt, his email address, his LinkedIn is all in the comments section, or excuse me, in the description below. If you have a request for another regional sales manager, be sure to make a comment down below. If you like this video, please do hit that like button, and if you'd like to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm eagerly anticipating my next interview, and we're going to be posting a few more videos here over the next couple of days and weeks. So I will be sure to see you there.